Well, my first one with Warwick was really difficult because I didn't know what to expect for preseason. I knew it was fit and healthy lad. Obviously, as a 15, 16-year-old going into your first preseason, I knew it was fit, but I didn't realize how fit you needed to be a professional. And I think that first preseason with Warwick, and I think Mungie maybe at that time wasn't there, but Warwick ran us ragged. And we used to get the balls out pretty early, which was lovely. But the first team, as soon as I became a pro and watching what the first team were doing on the sandhills, the dreaded sandhills, Les was unbelievable. I'd never seen someone push and motivate and drive these guys. And I loved Les Parry. And I don't think he realized how much he meant to me going through a very difficult time because I picked up my knee injury incredibly early at Tranmere. Les meant a lot to me. And even though sometimes he had this like angry mentality, he was someone who pushed the lads and he always had the lads back. He was brilliant. He was a great guy to have, in the physio room, even out there on the training pitch. He was just brilliant. He had a hard exterior. Obviously, we know with him never ever putting a jacket on or a hoodie on the sidelines. He used to wear those T-shirts in the most miserable weather conditions. But he was difficult. And that preseason with the first team, as soon as I got to 17 years old, I couldn't believe how difficult it was. There was lads who were throwing up when they were running and they kept going. They never stopped. And my mentality was I couldn't understand why people would push themselves through that pain barrier. But when you saw the talent level and how fit those lads were in the preseason, it's one of the reasons why Aldo had that team playing such good football, is because every single one of them were incredibly fit. They were so fit.
You obviously come through your YTS then and get the pro contract. I wonder what that moment was like when you received your pro contract. It must have been very proud for you, very proud for your family as well.
Yeah, so how it worked was initially going to Tranmere, and one of the reasons why I chose to go there is they gave us a 1-year apprenticeship and they gave us a 2-year professional contract. So I knew I was going to be a pro pretty quickly. Same with Perry Taylor. Perry was on a 1-year and a 2-year. I think Ian Sharps earned his earlier. Sharpsy was my group. He got 1 year and he was probably going to do a 2nd year, but he got his earlier. Peter Rogers wasn't too far away. Joel Murphy wasn't too far away. That whole group, all pretty much. Richie Hines came in shortly after that. We all kind of were in a similar boat where we were going to be pros pretty early and hopefully pushing to be reserve team regulars and then pushing the first team. I was incredibly proud when I got given that contract, first and foremost, because becoming a pro was the dream. It was the ultimate dream. And to play for a club at that level, obviously where Tranmere were in the championship, it was a dream come true. So yes, unfortunately for me, I picked up a serious injury in my first year at the club and it set me back a long, long way. And in the end, it ruined my career. So it was one of those injuries I was really unfortunate to pick up, but becoming through that injury and then getting through preseason as a pro and getting to wear the kit that the pros got to wear, those were proud times. And you're spot on. I mean, you work so hard for those moments to achieve success of becoming a pro. But my dream was not just to be a pro. My dream was to play for the first team, and my dream was to go on and play 100 games for Tranmere Rovers. That was the ultimate dream. And I knew my injury had set me back. I just didn't realize how much it had set me back.
We've had a few players on who've had injuries in their late teens or their mid-teens, and there's probably no worse a time to get an injury, a very serious one, because it comes at a time when a club is making a decision on whether or not you're going to even get a pro contract. And if you're injured, they may decide, well, that there's no point. But equally, if it does set you back a year of learning, of experience and whatnot, and it can ultimately be something that holds you back 6-7 years, if not longer.
Yeah, so I came through the B team pretty quickly with a great group, and very quickly Warwick had pushed me into the A team, and I was honored just to get that advantage. I was 16 years old, getting to play with the 17 and 18-year-old lads in such a talented group. I mean, the A team was incredible, and I played my first ever A team game against Blackburn Rovers. It was pissing down with rain, and within 20 minutes. I had gone into a collision, lost my balance, and someone had hit me on the shin, and I damaged my posterior cruciate ligament. So my PCL, it's basically the one that keeps the stability of your knee, where the shin bone sort of wobbles underneath of it. So it goes back and forth. So the instability was incredible throughout my career. I can discuss that in a minute. But the way it was handled was a little disappointing. I don't think Les had seen that type of an injury before. And my first ever appointment, I'll never forget. Les took me, he drove me there, and the doctor, I think it was Murrayfield. I think it was Murrayfield Bupa we used to be sponsored by. We went to, I think it was called Murrayfield, and the doctor said, "Your career's over. You're done." And I'll never forget Les coming out and just hugging me because it was in tears. There was no one there. I had no family. I was staying in digs. My parents were at the game and saw my injury. They carried me to the physio room where Les was about to leave for a first team game and didn't have time to look at it. My knees swollen up like a balloon. And then the next week, Les took me to get it checked up. And the first thing the doctor said is, "Your career's over." And having Les there, and this is where he probably doesn't know this, was so important to me mentally. He gave me strength, and yeah, it was a very difficult time. And he apologized, obviously, for what the doctor had said, that my career was over. But it was such an uncommon injury that I knew for some reason I had to go get a second opinion. So the US national team flew me to Carolina to go get a second opinion, and Tranmere were very happy, and Les was very happy for me to do that. So I went out to North Carolina to visit with the US national team doctor, and it was a much more common injury in the NFL because players would get tackled previously. You can't do it now, but previously you used to get tackled underneath the knee, right underneath the knee, and you would hyperextend your knee where your knee would basically go in a reverse direction, and it just absolutely just pulled that posterior cruciate ligament. So I had complete instability. The recommendation was to not have surgery to build the strength of my knee. And within 4 months, I was back playing again. So I went through the ringer once again with Les trying to get healthy. He definitely put me through it. But those days were dark days. And Les, and even at that time, and the positive I will say about John Aldridge, at that time, John Aldridge used to see him in the physio room and in the fitness room every morning. And he would always try to keep my head up and try to tell me to do this and to do that. And I was learning, continuously trying to take it all in like a sieve as to how I could make myself stronger. But eventually that injury ruined my career because I went on to fail medical after medical after medical. And I knew I was never at that point going to be able to play at the elite level anymore because of that injury. So, and it kind of hampered my way going through the first team at Tranmere as well.